All right, hello wine-drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and with the holidays coming up, that's right, we've got our folks from the Royal Wine Company who produce and sell kosher wines exclusively in the store. And, you know, the problem with kosher wines is getting people that aren't Jewish to buy them. Well, actually, we've had some success with this Goose Bay label. A lot of people have tried this wine, like them, and not recognizing the fact that they're kosher, bought them. And, you know, one of the ways you can make kosher wine is this mavushal method, which I learned something new on this trip. Mavushal, which is where they pasteurize the wine. They do different in the whites and the reds. In the whites, they heat up the juice before it ferments. And in the reds, they heat up the juice after it ferments. So, you know, the winemaker that was here was trying to convince me that heating up the juice helped keep the fruit flavors in it, which I would think would be the exact opposite. If you heat it up, you think some of the aromatics would go out into the air and be lost. But anyways, the wines are pretty good. I'd have to say the kosher wines of today, much better than the Manischewitz and some of the other things that we would associate with kosher wine in the past. There's just a lot of good wines. You know, some of these wines are not even mavushal. They're just made without us heathen, non-kosher people touching them. So you really don't have any danger of being injured by non-kosher wine, the Jewish people today, because, you know, wine's fermented. It's got 13% alcohol in it. It's going to kill any human pathogen that could be in it. But, well, you still got the tradition and culture of the Jewish faith where on certain holidays you want to serve something that's kosher for Passover. Well, all these wines qualify, and several of them we have in the store. The Goose Bay Sauvignon Blanc. This is just labeled South Island. It's a blend of Marlborough and Nelson fruit, and like I said, this wine's done with the mavushal method. And a typical New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, good amount of that tropical papaya, pineapple, grapefruit, and some green peppercorn, spicy notes here as well. A really zesty wine on the palate, leaves the tongue salivating for food, tongue-tingly acidity there. A very good little wine at $21. The Goose Bay Pinot. Yeah, the mavushal method's not so good with Pinot Noir. I don't know. And, you know, the Pinot is a light varietal. To heat it up and pasteurize it after it's been fermented, you definitely lose a little bit of umph in the wine. And this wine had a nice light red berry fruit with hints of herbs, some green vegetal notes too, which you can sometimes get out of New Zealand Pinot. But really light on the palate and balanced, but just light for $30.50 especially. Pacifica Pinot Noir. This wine had a little bit more going on to it. Candied red berry fruits, hints of fresh earth and spice. Really pretty floral notes on the bouquet. Juicy red cherry pie fruit on the tongue with smooth velvety tannins. A nice amount of exotic spice to the finish. Very good stuff. And then the Pacifica Cabernet Sauvignon from Walla Walla. This is grapes are sourced from the Seven Hills and Pepperbridge vineyards. Two great vineyard sites. Thus the very good resulting wine. Some fresh earth and dark spice, dried tobacco, dark cherry fruit. 100% varietal. Smooth round tannins on the tongue with some nice sweet tobacco, spice, and fresh earth. Very good little wine. $30. We're expecting a little more, though, from wines from Washington State. You get a really good value coming out of most of these wines. The next wine, the Evans Meritage, was definitely a step up here. The grapes are also from Seven Hills and Pepperbridge, but a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Malbec, Petit Verdot. And this one had juicy black currant and black cherry fruit notes of fresh plowed earth and you know, some pretty floral notes, lots of juicy fruit on the tongue with a ripe and round tannin. So this one just a little bigger, a little more complex and long on the finish, some dark chocolate notes, excellent juice at $40 a bottle. And then we had a few wines, one from France, the Baron's Edmond de Rothschild from the Medoc. This one, a classic Bordeaux, fresh plowed earth, cigar box spice, dark plum, and cherry fruit on the nose. Classic Bordeaux with fine tannins. This 2010 vintage needs a bit of time, though. A classic year in Bordeaux. Very good stuff at $28.75. And then off to California, the Baron Herzog Chardonnay Special Reserve. A nice touch of butterscotch and toasty oak spice with a ripe, delicious apple and pear fruit. A nicely balanced Chardonnay with a good amount of ripe fruit and a nice touch of toasty oak spice. Very good stuff at $31. The Cabernet Special Reserve from Alexander Valley. You notice a little bit of that black pepper spice in these Alexander Valleys. Fresh, proud back earth, a good amount of tobacco, dark cherry and plum fruit, currant, and, you know, close your eyes, you would never know this wine is kosher. I mean, it tastes like any other really good Alexander Valley wine. Dark, rich berry fruit on the tongue, layers of black spice, fine tannins. A bit dry at the end, but it is 2010 vintage. A classic vintage in California as well. This wine needs a little time to come together. And then the special edition 2010 Baron Herzog Cabernet Sauvignon. Even bigger than this, had a little more fruit to this, a little more richness, dark berry, dark cherry fruit, dark chocolate, damp earth. Nice complexity on the nose. This wine had a good amount of that fruit showing through on the palate. Firm tannins, good structure here with layers of that dark earth and spice showing on the finish. Excellent juice. That's what we had to drink with our friends from the Royal Wine Company. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.